Welcome to DTV. I'm joined with National Recruiting Manager Barry Prendergast, who's put in a mountain of work and a massive day following the draft seminar. Barry, can you just talk about what happened today?
Today was our draft seminar day, Matt, which we have every year. It was a successful day. They generally are. We bring together all the information. We ran a mock draft where we get our recruiting staff to allocated picks, and we run the draft order as it will appear on draft day, and they select players in order and why they selected those players. And then we had Anton Grabak and Leon Harris, who are the high performance managers at Football Victoria and have worked with all the under 18s at the state championships and beyond. So they gave us a good insight into the players that they've worked with. Victoria's got a really strong hand in this year's draft, which they always generally do, but probably this year more than others. And from there we looked at the medical parts. Our doctors have done medicals, and after that we sort of took apart the draft really and tried to predict what would be available to us at 36, analyse it and come up with some opinions and ratings and rankings. It's not a final decision-making day by any means, but it is a great day to bring all the stakeholders, if you like, together, because the coaches are involved with the recruiting staff, and so we get to sort of really hone in on our picks.
Do you find a day like this becomes a lot clearer in your mind, or does it cloud a few decisions?
Yeah, well, it was an interesting day because not having our first round draft pick this year, we tend to spend a lot of time on that, and at that pick you don't have quite so many options. So, and we don't spend probably as much time on the later picks. So, just purely through time factor. But today we got to spend a lot of time on 36, 52, and 54, and look, I think there's no doubt that it narrows your mind and gets you closer towards the final decision and where you think it'll all happen. But there's no doubt that there was a diverse amount of opinion in the room about what we should be taking at those picks. So, it's just tomorrow you go and reflect on the day, wade through the information that come forward and the things that might have changed your mind a little bit. And so it certainly is a big part of the decision-making process.
Yeah. There's always challenges for yourself in doing the draft, but this year, starting a bit later and with a fresh sort of coaching staff, it just adds another dimension, doesn't it?
Oh, there's no doubt about that. The focus of this coaching staff is much different to the previous one, in the way they look at the game and the things that they see important in the game. There's no question about that. So, as a recruiter, you've got to adapt to that, and you've got to say, well, okay, well, look, we might have been looking for this type of attribute or this type of player previously, and that was important in the game plan, but with this coach and this coaching group, you've got to look for other things, and irrelevant of what your biases might be, you need to be able to plug players into our list that are going to help us develop into the side we want to be.
Fewer picks, but you're sort of starting at 36 and then a couple in the 50. You've had a few picks in the 50s the last couple of years with Troy Davis and McDonald and Jack Fitzpatrick, of course. How do you find sort of picking those last few? Is it tricky compared to those years when you've had picks in the 50s? Yeah,
well, this is my fourth year, and I think every year we've had a pick between 30 and 34 and 50 and 54. Yep. So this is the fourth year in a row that's occurred. So it's pretty familiar ground in picking those players. And in fact, last year we had 50 and 53, so 2 picks in the 50s again. So, look, it is tricky out there because you just got to wait and see what happens, and you can get a little bit of luck where you think that blokes who you thought might have gone have come through, and but it's pretty dependent on the draft pool itself quite often. And this year's draft pool I wouldn't think is anywhere near as strong as the previous 3, but look, we'll just wait and see what happens on the day. And as I said, we're just really looking for players who fit into the current model. Yeah.
Well, it's a week, next week the draft's on up in Sydney, so best wishes for him. I'm sure you'll do a great job again, and probably a few sleepless nights coming up, no doubt.
Yeah, well, you tend to work around the clock as you get closer and making sure that you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's, and that when you walk in and sit on the table, that you're happy with what you're going to do. So, yeah, there's a bit of work to be done yet, Matty, but we'll get there.
Thanks, Baz.
No worries, mate.